This is Bo Sanders from the Homebrewed Christianity podcast. Doug Pagitt Radio is broadcasting audio and video around the world and maybe even to the space station, live from the Twin Cities.
Yeehaw! Hey, Victoria. Welcome to Doug Pagitt Radio. We're broadcasting live out of the Twin Cities. Thanks, Bo Sanders. He's a buddy of mine. Does a little podcast himself, 3 or 4 of them, actually. Isn't that a great voice that guy has, that Bo Sanders?
Yeah, I haven't listened to him.
Have you listened to him before? Have you listened to him talk? I said the other day when I heard his bumpers that he was so kind to make for the show. We should do a radio show together.
Yeah.
And just like talk badassy. Just talk all gravelly and deep. And, just be like those guys. That'd be kind of fun. Doug Pagitt Radio broadcasting today, the 5th of December, out of the Twin Cities. And as Bo has reminded us, all around the world.
It's our first December show.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's our almost, it could be called our Advent show, if we followed such things. But I refused to do so.
Yeah.
But it's our pre-Christmas holiday show. So I'm dressed in black today. If you watch on the video, you can see Victoria has a very 20s hat on. You have a very 20s look about you today.
It feels kind of Victorian, sort of, to me. Although maybe 20s is better. It's like a flapper hat.
Yeah, flapper hat. Yeah, I feel like you're going to hop up at any moment and give us a little. give us a little.
I promise I will not. I don't
you have
think
white
this
gloves
table
on under that.
Could hold.
No, you do
me.
have gloves on, though.
I
you do have gloves, but they're not white.
No.
That was a good one.
My friend Linda made this hat. It's awfully charming.
I find that absolutely incredible that people can make clothing out of yarn and
little
fibers.
long metal sticks. She knit this hat.
Yeah, that's right.
Why?
How do people do that?
I
Honestly,
don't understand.
it's the dark art of
dark art
of magic. Somehow they have made a deal with the devil. There's no other way that someone can have those skills.
She just does it all the time.
I would have burned him as a witch.
She really.
I
pretty
agree.
Serious.
No, I know.
You know a lot. Do you know how many of your friends you would have to burn? Do you
well,
know how many
I don't want to
sit
burn these
in
people.
Our church
I
and knit?
I know. A lot of these people are making them during
and they're probably
religious
making
meetings.
things for you.
Well, that doesn't happen very often. But no, I would love to have it.
Would you like to have a knit? Is this really just a passive aggressive
attempt
not
to
get people to knit things?
I don't operate in that economy. No. But apparently everybody else does. Everybody else, you say something and they're always trying to, the level to which people will interpret and reinterpret and think, what did you mean? It's really incredible.
It's a terrible thing. I've decided to just take what people say at face value.
Yes. I have a rule, which should be, and this is going to be the Christmas rule from Doug Pagitt Radio. If you want to have a happy holiday, follow this simple rule. Things are what they are and nothing else. That's it.
There's no subtext.
Play it as it lays.
There's nothing that really frustrates a passive-aggressive person more.
Oh.
Not that we would do this sort of thing, but if you just take them at face value.
Oh, you telling me?
Oh, boy.
Tell me about it. There's nothing that pushes the buttons of the passive-aggressive, skilled people.
Well, I have two.
Than not playing along that game. Bluntness. Oh my gosh.
They hate it.
It's
I come from a very passive-aggressive family system, and it's just too much work. I decided I can't do it anymore.
Man, it's always something with it. Yeah. And a passive-aggressive might even be different than the people who read into everything, isn't it? Wouldn't it be different?
if you grow up with really passive-aggressive people, it's hard not to start reading into everything. Because there's always this kind of subtext that comes to the surface every once in a while.
Because these people aren't aggressive that I'm thinking of at all. They just operate in a coded linguistic world. Like everything's got a little magic to it. But no, I wasn't at all suggesting someone should make me a hat by saying that I find it so unbelievably wondrous that with a stick and fibers, someone can in like 2 hours craft a hat. I'm like, you've had to make a deal with the devil somewhere that you have a magic ability.
One. These are knit too. I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't have the patience or the fine motor skills.
Oh, how do these? And these people, and they do it without looking. They do it while talking to other people. I know that like people are going to be thinking like, hey, 21st century fella, people have been doing this like for 50,000 years. The human being has had the capacity to develop their own clothing. How do you think people wore clothing? It still is magical. How do they know how big? How do they know how far it's? I don't get it at all. It's as magic as electricity. That someone can make those things. It's truly something. Well, I want to thank Bo Sanders and the others who've been kind enough to chip in on the radio show. And today I'm wearing the dark brew colors. I'm not brewing or brooding, but dark brew is a church that meets both in Omaha, Nebraska, and on the internet simultaneously. They've really stepped over and crafted a community that is as much local as it is international.
What kind of technology do they use?
Well, they use some kind of broadcasting technology. I don't know, not like Skype, but I don't think it's
so
just
everybody
Skype.
Skypes in.
No,
or
what they
whatever.
do is they have people in a room with a band, a live band, and kind of hosts like we have, and then they invite people to do the sermon for the live community and for the online community via connections like Skype and some other ones. So they always have an outside guest person who gives them some content.
So one time they channeled into
This
Solomon's
is why I got
Porch,
the free
right?
the free shirt, because I was the guest preacher there for the church in Omaha and online, while in Minneapolis, in between the stuff we were doing.
Oh, in between. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I missed.
So I just walked out. Yeah, because nobody pays attention to what we do around our place.
No, because I was in the children. I was serving in the children's ministry.
Oh boy. So yeah, I walked over into my office and did a little 15-minute thing with him, and then walked back into our room. It was delightful.
I came in at announcements, and they said, I think we need to sing another song because Doug's not back yet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I was stuck in the internet somewhere. He hasn't
reappeared from the Matrix.
What do they call that in Star Trek when someone would transport?
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't transported.
Phase me up or something,
phase me in.
Oh, yeah,
I hadn't been phased back in yet. That's actually really quite funny.
Beam me up,
Beam
Scotty.
me up, Scotty. That's right. That's beam me up.
I know. I had to.
And those guys were ahead of their time. Like there were some things like they had the early flip phones, which and I'm an iPhone user, but I'll tell you what, I think I would go back to a flip phone.
I know there's something very charming about it.
Oh, so great. You just flip that thing open.
That was my one thing, my first cell phone. I wanted it to be a flip phone.
Hey, I'm going to call my friend Gary Black.
Okay.
I have friends named Bo Sanders, which is, like an athlete's name, right? And Gary Black Jr. His name's Gary Black Jr. Isn't that awesome?
Great.
Call my friend Gary Black Jr. because he started a juice diet.
He did.
Yeah, and here's the deal. About a year ago, right now, I was 2 weeks into a juice diet.
I remember.
And so I reflected on that a week or so ago when about that it was a year ago that on a fluke I started this juice diet just out of nowhere. I decided on a Wednesday that Friday I would just consume juice for a month, which is sort of my personality, or whatever, to get just to have an idea on a lark, jump right into something. And it worked out for me. I lost a bunch of weight and started running and blah, blah, blah. And my life sort of, I developed whole new passions and interests that I never, ever would have seen coming. So I blogged about that, wrote a little blog post at DougPagitt.com. And people saw it. And Gary's one who saw it and had the very similar thought and thought, I need to get started on this. So he's now, I think, 9 days into his juice diet. And
so we're gonna check
so
in
I
with
thought
him?
we'd check in with him and see how it's going. Wouldn't that be fun? Because maybe other people are right on the edge themselves. Maybe they're thinking to themselves, I think maybe I want to do a juice.
Do you think about doing another one?
I do think about it, but I'm a little worried that, maybe I shouldn't lose any more weight, and I don't know how to do a juice diet without losing more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get overly scrawny. Hey, Gary Black Jr.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Really good. Hey, you're on with Victoria, too, the sidekick
Hi,
here
Gary.
on the show. Hey, and I was
Hi,
just...
Victoria. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Gary, I was just giving...
Do Do you ever actually get to kick him as your sidekick?
Always.
Hey, good point.
Always after the show.
We should clarify that, the roles of such a person. Gary, how you feeling? I told people you started a juice diet about 9. Are you about 9 days in?
Let's see. I started the Monday after Thanksgiving. So what is that? Is it 10 days?
Yeah, 10 days.
10 days? Yeah.
We'll give you 10 days. We'll count this as a day in. All right. So 10 days, and tell us what you're doing and how you're feeling.
I'm doing great. I'm feeling much better than I did the first 2 days. But I've never been hungry, and I really think it didn't have anything to do with the juicing the first 2 days. It was really the caffeine that really. I did not know that I was as addicted to caffeine physically as I was. I had a headache, pretty strong headache for 2 days. But after those 2 days, I've been feeling great. I've lost 8.5 pounds. I got on the scale this morning, 8.5 pounds.
Good. In
10 days, and I only cheated maybe a day and a half.
What did you cheat on?
How does a guy like Gary Black Jr. cheat when he cheats on his juice diet? What did you do?
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be. I try not to be legalistic in anything I do. Religion, eating, sports affiliations. Just
fidelity to your wife. None of that.
Yeah. Well, no.
Okay.
I'm good with that. That one actually would come with a death sentence. So
all right. So how did you cheat? What did you do?
Was it Reese's peanut
so
butter
I came
cups?
Home, it was Friday night. What's that?
Was it Reese's peanut butter cups or potato chips or?
No, I came home on Friday night. Now, Friday night is typically kind of a wind down night.
Sure.
I mean, it's been a long week.
Yep.
You come home. It's Friday night, and my 16-year-old daughter had a couple of friends over, and they were getting ready to go to the mall. And my wife had ordered my nemesis. They'd ordered a pizza from our favorite pizza place for the girls, and it was just wafting through the house.
Now was your wife unaware of your juice dieting, or was she aware and didn't know you were coming home, or did she just say, "Hey, you got yourself into this, buddy.
No.
You're on your own"?
No, she is very aware. In fact, she made me buy juice for 3 or 4 days before I went out and spent $200 on a juicer because she didn't think that I'd stick with it.
Oh, she is a wise woman. So she said, "I want you going over to the juice bar, drink that stuff that they're making there for $4 a thing before we get in deep."
Yeah, because I think this is going to be a fad, and I don't know. So maybe there's been a time or two where I've kind of gotten excited about something. I'm not really one of the guys that buys things on the TV at the shopping channel. Not that kind of impulse buyer, but
right.
I might have bought a piece of exercise equipment that's in the garage.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
been used
Right. Yeah, but that Bowflex was just awesome. Totally could work.
That is the hardest, though, when there's things around that you love. Like, if you could just shut out all those things, right? And not have exposure to them, it'd be a lot easier.
And here's the other thing that's a little bit easier: is it would be easier if I had juice ready to go. So if I think I need to make more juice when I bring the thing out, because it is a little bit of a. It's not nearly as complicated or time consuming as cooking, because I'm the cook in the family.
Oh boy!
But there is a little bit of cleanup, and when you're hungry. There's a lot of things in the cupboard you can grab and eat right now.
Right.
So juicing takes a little bit of time. So it's good to have a stockpile of some juice so that, when you're hungry and you feel a little bit of a pang, you can go get some juice. And here's the thing. My stomach has shrunk, and it doesn't take nearly as much juice to fill me up and feel satisfied as it did at the beginning.
Yeah, isn't it remarkable? Like sometimes that fourth juice in the day, you find yourself hard to finish it if you have that big one.
Oh, it is. And here's the other thing: my taste buds have changed.
Oh, yeah. Everything's more tasty.
Yeah, I mean, I have not made a juice that I don't like, and I've never made juice. So I'm kind of a mad scientist when I'm putting this stuff in there. I'm going, let's do that. Let's do that. I mean, I like the beets. I really like the beets.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, that deep red. It just somehow felt so.
They're the best.
So satisfying.
Yeah, it is. It's. Now here's one of the funny things I learned. Bananas don't juice very well.
No, you have to put them in the blender if you're going to do the bananas, and then you're kind of cheating the whole thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, when I did my juicing, I was a total purist. Like, I wouldn't even have Beeler broth. I wouldn't have a smoothie. I wouldn't do any of that stuff. Like, if it didn't extract the juice, I wasn't going to drink it. It was just ridiculous.
Such an idealist.
That's a good point, because I teach at Azusa Pacific, so they've got those all natural things down in the in the
naked
cafeteria.
smoothies and all that stuff.
About?
Yeah, naked juices and smoothies and
naked. Yeah. All Dwala.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah.
Odwalla.
And I thought that was juice, right?
Yeah.
And it's not. It's really smoothies.
Pureed.
So, yeah.
And for people who don't know, the difference between a puree and a juice, if people don't know it, because why would they have to know this? A puree is going to take all the elements of the juice, the pulp and the fiber and everything, and of the fruit, and mix it all up, grind it all up. Juice will extract the liquid and then push the bulk and the fiber out.
Fiber out, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's why some of us think that juicing is such a great idea.
Well, the idea is to give your body a direct hit of nutrients and give it a break from processing all that fiber, so that you can give all your systems, your liver and everything, a break from processing all that, but still have a very nutrient-rich product or thing
Intake.
to fill you. Yes.
And I could tell the difference. I mean, I really could tell the difference between the pure juice and the smoothies. And so, I don't know exactly what I'm not probably as in tune with my body as I could be, but I would say the juice is like jet fuel, and the smoothie is kind of more like a stick of wood. I mean, it just kind of you really feel energized right away. In the first 10 or 15 minutes with the juice. And I think the smoothie, like you say, it's like a ground up meal.
Yeah.
So
and your body has to extract all the nutrients. So you had a couple worries, I know, going into all of this. One was, would you be hungry? The other was, would you have energy? And would you have any bowel movements? How have those things gone?
Well, I tell you what, it's not to be gross this early in the morning with your listeners, but when you have a beet. You need to, when you have that beet juicer, you need to be a little prepared for what might come out.
You have to remind yourself, I'm not bleeding through my urinary tract.
Yeah, right, because that's like, oh man.
You look in that toilet and you think, I'm done. Yep.
Is that my kidney in there? Okay, I'm good. You don't know what that is a little bit, but no, I've my bowel. I did have a little bit, the website. What's the guy? Gonna sick and die, gonna die.
Yeah, sick, fat, and nearly dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember that fellow's name.
That I read the website, and he said, don't go cold turkey. Kind of do 2 juices and then a salad or a soup or something. So he says to work in it kind of slowly. And so that's I think it is a good idea, because the first day or so. I stayed next to the toilet a little quick, because I think my body was shocked with all the fiber that it got.
Yeah, a little loose in the caboose.
Little loose in the caboose.
Yeah.
Not any anal leakage or anything like that. But you gotta. Your things have unpacked, shall we say?
Well, great.
In there, and so, but after 2 days. It's been just kind of normal. I do not have kind of my body isn't getting rid of as much waste at all.
Right, because there's not as much in you to be passing along.
There's not as much in there to get out of there, right?
And how about your energy? How's your energy level feeling?
Yeah, my energy is picking up. I didn't probably have an energy boost until, say, Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, 5 days in, right?
But after those 2 pieces of pizza, my energy kind of came down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Your body was just like, now we got to work again to process all that stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, listen, I highly recommend it. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. And I got to tell you, I mean, this is kind of, I'm really not a health and, fruit and nut kind of guy.
Yeah, right.
I live in California.
You're not a granola.
I'm more of a, I'm not a granola dude. But it does feel kind of cool when you walk into the store and you walk out with, it looks like a garden in your basket.
Yes.
And people are looking at you like, wow, dude. And it's cheap. I mean, I walked out with I don't know how big a basket of stuff. I didn't even know what kale was.
Oh, is that right? That's a good. That becomes a real staple of the juice world. You can get a lot of liquid out of that thing.
Gary, how long are you going to go? How long are you going to do it?
Say again?
How long are you going to do this juice diet?
I've got a kind of a weight idea in my head. So I was 210 when I started, and I'd like to get down to like 195. But I actually don't think. I don't even know if that's now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if that's really the goal. I mean, I would like to get down below 195. Maybe even 190. That'd be 20 pounds. But really, I think I'm just going to change a lot of things. I think I'm not going to eat nearly as much meat. I think I'm going to eat a lot more vegetables. And I actually think that one of the reasons why maybe I haven't eaten as much fruit and vegetables is because I really don't like the taste of them. And I think cleaning my palate with not eating so much salt and sugar and fat has actually made these vegetables taste better.
How about that? Now, Gary, you do work at Azusa Pacific College, which is a school that has some Christian identification within it. Have you told people there that you're doing this kind of diet, and do you get any sort of comments or pushback? I know when I was doing it, people would always ask me if I was doing some kind of a religious fast, right? Like, they put it into the spiritual formation fasting kind of idea, and I thought it was very spiritual. It was very, very impactful on my whole sensibility of my life and who I was and how I was living and everything. But I wasn't doing it as a particular spiritual practice. And I found Christian people being the most not skeptical, but most confused by the fact that one would go without food, and just be juicing and not have it be a part of some kind of a religious commitment. Have you has that happened at all for you?
Yeah. Yeah, people have because a lot of things what we do with my faculty, my colleagues, is we go out to lunch together, and so the cafeteria is right downstairs, and so when you sit together with 5 other theologians at the table, and you're drinking this thing that looks came from Mars, they're going it's a conversation piece. And here's what I think is going on. A lot of people have asked me, is this some sort of a spiritual thing? And I said, well, tell me the difference between body and spirit. And then we get into a very interesting conversation about the ways in which our bodies affect our spiritual life. But here's what I think is really going on, where I'm at least right now, is they're looking at me, seeing what kind of an impact this has before they consider whether or not they're going to try it out.
Yeah, they're kind of thinking about it, aren't they? You find that,
You're like their guinea pig.
It's like a testimonial. Like, well, they know how I eat. They know how we watch each other what we eat at the cafeteria. And it's not very healthy stuff. Of course, there's a salad bar and soup there too, but there's also the burgers and sliders and pizza and Chinese food and all this kind of stuff that's right there too. So we know how each other eat, and they're watching to see whether or not I have the discipline and the willpower, but they're also figuring out, well, how does this actually impact you? And I think it's funny, kind of in a Christian evangelical setting, there's so much put on the testimonial.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah.
If this is really something that's meaningful and impactful in your life, then maybe I'll try it. And I think there's something about the culture of the witness and in evangelicalism, the kind of giving a testimony of the benefits of whether it's our faith or whether it's the lifestyle that we choose or what we eat. They've got to see it played out in somebody. It's got to be proven. It's got, the whole walk your talk thing. I think there's a wait and see attitude. So that's actually given me a little bit of I don't know, resolve to make sure that I'm doing it well and I'm doing it right and doing it healthy. And I don't come with a sour look on my face like, gosh, I'm dying because I can't have my bacon cheeseburger.
And you're not actually dying either. It's not like you're bucking up to show, to put on a good show in front of people. I bet you feel great.
Yeah. And, I think Jesus says this.
Yep.
He says, when you go around fasting, don't act like it's the worst thing in the world.
Yes, and people see, people hear that passage, and if they've never done anything like this, they tend to think to themselves, oh, Jesus means cover up how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. No, he means don't put on a show acting like you feel horrible. Stop faking it.
Right. Don't bring attention to yourself because you want to act all spiritual that you have willpower. Because I do fast. Right. I fast usually once a week. I haven't done
just between meals, or do you do it for an entire day?
I do it for an entire day.
Okay.
As a spiritual practice, as a discipline.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, every Monday. Oh. And so I'm not hungry during that day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My body isn't really hungry, and I think that's actually what Jesus is trying to explain to us, is that when I have food you know not of, and I think that's actually a sustaining reality that's both physical and spiritual, and so when I do feel some sort of hunger pang on Monday, I say, no, wait a minute, where's this coming from?
Yeah. Yep.
And is this really the way it's going to be? And do I really have to depend upon the physical sustenance of this world for every fulfilling part of my life, or can I trust that God is there for me?
Yeah, and isn't it interesting how these rhythms of one's life, like the day, like you get hungry at certain times in the day, sometimes because you have a memory that what you're going to do is fuel your body or put food in your body at that point. And like you get these triggers, as soon as you look and see it's around noon or it's around 6, it intensifies, right? Like, oh, that's when I'm supposed to be eating. So we get these patterns that we live by. And, these kinds of practices that you're doing, or just a monthly or a weekly change in rhythm kind of breaks that function.
And it's embodied. I mean, it's an embodied habit, just like driving my car, right? You don't want, I've got a 16-year-old that's learning to drive, right? She's a little dangerous because she has to think about doing everything.
That's right.
It's not yet inhabited in her body that, I can work the brake and the accelerator and I can check my mirrors, and I can also listen to the radio. These things have to be right now very
send text messages. I'm really good at all that stuff now. Yeah, totally.
Right.
Well, Gary, hold fast, my friend.
Yeah, good luck, Gary.
All right.
Very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, buddy.
Let me just say this. Listen,
you know I love that organic cooking. I always ask for more. And they call me Mr. Natural. On down to the health food.
Your encouragement during this whole thing. This is a community thing, and so your original post and watching you and knowing you. Your testimonial was important for me. So I got to thank you for that. I really do.
All righty. Hey, you're welcome, buddy, and thanks for sharing your piece of the story with us.
All right, bud.
All right, hey, we'll be back here, Doug Pagitt Radio, here after the break. That's Gary Black Jr. If you're out in the Azusa area, you should hook up with Gary. He's a good man and worth knowing. Thanks, Gary. Hey, we're going to be back here in a minute with Rob Ryersey. Thank you. With Rob Ryersey. He is the author of a book, Fundamorphous.
Yes.
Fundamorphous. He's a fundamentalist who's metamorphized. So we're going to be we're going to be on here with him in just a break here after this break. So if you're listening on Spreaker, you can just roll over to the next show. If that's on the website, just redo the show. And if you're watching on the Ustream, just roll the next video. We'll be back here in a moment.